Hello and welcome to another update. In this one I'll be covering the whole front line, starting out in the Luhansk front. We see here that the Russian forces are trying to recapture the parts that the Ukrainian forces attacked south of Plushenka, these forest patches here to the south, and at the same time they've managed to advance here further south of that direction, and they've managed to capture these parts west of the forest patches here to the south, which means that they have advanced towards this position here, which seems to be some sort of position where there could be built fortifications, or that they are trying to just reach these forest lines, which will allow them to advance further in the direction of Nevsky and possibly try to flank the Ukrainian positions to the north. Moving on to the Siversk front, we see here that the Russian forces are attacking the direction of Belorivka, as well as Spirne, Vaimka, and Fedorivka. The Russian forces are here using a lot of artillery and then doing some probing attacks to see if they are able to advance further in these directions, while the Ukrainians are trying to hold their positions and are using their fortified positions to withstand the Russian artillery barrages. Then to the Bakhmut front, we see here that the Russian forces have managed to advance in a couple of places. If we look at the recap map, you can see that they have advanced here to the northwest of Bakhmut in the direction of Bohdanivka, as well as direction of Orehovo-Vasilivka and Selesnyansky, as they have managed to actually reach and possibly cut off the intersection between these three villages, Orehovo-Vasilivka, Selesnyansky, and the highway E40 highway. This will allow them to essentially cut off most supplies going to Selesnyansky, as there's no other road other than some dirt roads to the north, which will not be able to use. So the Ukrainian forces here in Selesnyansky are isolated from the rest of the forces and supply routes. So essentially there will be hard time for them to receive supplies or reinforcements as long as the Russian forces hold this intersection. And they have also advanced right in front of the village, reaching the outskirts of it. According to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, the Russian forces have actually attacked Orehovo-Vasilivka 30 times over the past 24 hours, as they are focusing a lot on taking control over the village, which will allow them to get further control over this northern part and reach further in the direction of Trihorivka as well as Bohdanivka, where the Russian forces have also advanced here in this direction as they are closing in on the village itself. And fighting continues here to the northwest of the city as well as to the north, where the Russian forces are trying to gain full control over the outskirts of the city as well as entering Kholmove. And then to the east, they are attacking across the river line from the eastern bank to the western bank. And to the south, the fighting continues here, trying to advance further to the city center, maybe connecting the forces between the east and the west bank. And here to the southwest of the city, fighting continues by the intersection to prevent the Ukrainian supply going in and out of the city. And finally, even Ivanivsk, fighting continues here to the southern part of it, where the Russian forces are trying to gain further control over the hills to the southwest of the city, as well as generally closing in on the city. Then we see here to the Avdiivka front, the Russian forces are attacking in the direction of Oleksandropil, as well as Kamyanka, Sheverne, and Vodiane. As here we see that the Russian forces are attacking in the direction of Oleksandropil from Novobakhmutivka, so the southern axis towards Oleksandropil, as they are currently attacking in this direction, which is very interesting because there's this hill here to the west where the Ukrainian forces have built fortifications, so they will be able to shoot down on the Russian forces in this position. So any attacks in the direction of Oleksandropil makes no sense in my opinion, but it is what it is. As for Kamyanka, fighting continues in this direction as Russian forces try to gain further control over the highway, as well as the river line here to the east of Avdiivka. And to the south, fighting continues here in the fortifications here to the north of Vodiane, as well as to the west of Vodiane, as they try to gain control over the whole city, over the whole village. As for the Marinka area, we see Russian forces continue their attacks in the center of the city, and to the south of the city, we see fighting continuing in Novomikhailivka, where the Russian forces are trying to get a foothold within. And that is going to be all for this update. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.